Ed, there's a whole group of physical problems that the physicians don't find a cause for. And many of these problems, as you know, have emotional components.
Yes.
So I'm referring to psychosomatic disorders or problems like hay fever, like bronchial asthma. How can help subliminal therapy with psychosomatic problems?
Well, they are by definition psychosomatic. They're caused, they're the consequence of earlier experiences in life. This is simply and wonderfully a method of identifying those causal influences and reframing them. Understood differently, that original event has a different effect. The consequence of some experience is certainly determined in part by the experience, but it's also determined by where we are, what we know, what coping skills we have, so forth and so on. And the influence then can be integrated by us without awareness that that's happening. That's the way psychogenic problems take place. And we're very adaptive creatures. So an influence that was caused in this situation, you know, you fell and bumped your head, headache might be expected, but that headache would be expected to fade as the healing process takes place physically. Well, might be that it becomes associated with something pleasurable. Like I didn't have to go to school the next day.
Yes.
Or I don't have to go to that damn meeting. And even without recognizing it consciously, we learn to take advantage of whatever is happening in our lives. We can learn to use pain, and as a matter of fact, this is the most common underlying subconscious reason for chronic pain is to get attention. Now, to say that to a patient would be very offensive.
Of course.
And yet, that patient, when using the patient's own ability, becomes aware, hey, that's what I'm doing. Well, with that awareness, the pictures change. No more pain. That may be oversimplified, but
yes,
that's the idea. So yes, we're talking about the disorders you mentioned. I don't know the limit of these. A lot of dermatological problems are psychogenic. Psoriasis, hives. High success rate with dermatological problems by identifying that psychological factor that's prompting the body to respond through the muscle systems, through the smooth muscle systems, creating the problem. You know, glandular dysfunction explains these problems. Dermatologists refer to the skin as the emotional organ of the body because it is so responsive to emotion.
And the mirror of the soul.
With respect to chronic pain, most common, at least in my practice, is the low back pain or high shoulder pain. It's very simple to explain the mechanics of that. It's the action of the muscles of the body in spasm. And the patients know that, they just don't know how to relax those muscles. Well, no, we know, those of us who practice hypnotic phenomena know that just with hypnotic trance, we can relax muscles in profound ways and ease pain. But we need to dig deeper. We need to find out what's prompting those muscles to go into spasm. And that's where subliminal therapy has proven to be so effective.